Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. He who imbibes the Dhamma lives happily. Friends, I am glad to see you all this evening. Bhante Chan, my friend, invited me to give a short Dhamma talk and sit with you to practice this evening. I am glad to be here with you all to share the Dhamma with you and practice the Dhamma with you. First Dhamma talk, short Dhamma talk. For this Dhamma talk, the suggested topic is why should we know and see the Dhamma? Why should we know and see the Dhamma? Know means knowledge. See means see through. That is wisdom. We have to acquire knowledge. It helps us to practice properly, correctly, systematically. That is why we have to have knowledge. We should acquire the knowledge through right sources. So then when we practice this Dhamma, the Dhamma, we can see through. That is what is called vipassana. That is the purpose of practicing. Let's first understand that there are two types of Dhamma. Dhamma and the Dhamma. That is how I put this. Dhamma and the Dhamma. Dhamma means nature, law, the law of existence, natural law. In Pali it is Dhamma niyama, Dhamma niyamata. And also the term Dhamma can be used to any doctrine of any particular spiritual master, teacher. For the term Dhamma, there are about 40 different meanings. Therefore, it is quite difficult to translate this term Dhamma into any other language. When we use the term the Dhamma, where we emphasize the word with the Dhamma, what is that? That is the teaching of the Buddha. The Dhamma means the sublime Dhamma. The sublime Dhamma is taught only by the Buddhas. You know, the Buddhas are rare beings in the world. They are born after long time, eons and eons time. Once they are born as humans. Then they start to practice and they come to the state of human perfection. That is what is called Buddhahood. Once they attain enlightenment, as they have realized this Dhamma, they reveal this Dhamma. In the absence of the Buddhas, this Dhamma is hidden in the world, but it is an eternal truth, everlasting phenomena in the world. So this Dhamma is to be understood. Whether the Buddhas appear or do not appear in the world, this Dhamma taught by the Buddha is there. The Dhamma is different from that of Dhamma. Simply when you say Dhamma, the Dhamma is different. The Dhamma means it is excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. The Dhamma was well expounded by the Buddha. It's directly visible, unaffected by time, leading onwards. It is to be realized by the wise individually. Those are the qualities of the Dhamma. Referring to the Dhamma, the Buddha has very clearly taught us what the Dhamma he taught us. So what are the Dhamma? What are the Dhamma he taught us? According to the last days of the Buddha, Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the last days of the Buddha addressed the monks and said, "Monks, this Dhamma realized and revealed by me should be thoroughly learned by you, practiced by you for the benefit of many, multitudes of gods and humans." Then he said, "What are the Dhamma I realized?" Then Buddha pointed out 37 factors of enlightenment. Those are the real Dhamma, the Dhamma called sublime Dhamma. There are 37 factors. Let's understand the 37 factors. The four establishments of mindfulness. There you find four. And four efforts, right efforts. There again you find four. Then four roads to power. Again you find four. Then 5 spiritual faculties. There are 5. Then 5 spiritual powers. Again 5. 7 factors of enlightenment. There are 7. Then Eightfold Path. These altogether 37 factors. These are called the real Dhamma taught by the Buddha. So these are the Dhamma, what you call the Dhamma, sublime Dhamma to be understood. This whole Dhamma, what he has realized, can be condensed into three factors, 3 major principles. What are the 3? The 4 noble truths. The first is the 4 noble truths. Then the dependent origination. And then the 3 characteristics of existence. These 3 are like a triangle. Of the top is the topmost is the 4 noble truths. Then the dependent origination. Then the 3 characteristics of existence, like this, like 3 triangle like. In order to understand this Dhamma, we have to practice, that is meditation. So when we understand this, we have to understand why should we know this Dhamma? Why should we know this Dhamma? Because there are adhamma, edhamma, counterfeit Dhamma. Therefore, we have to understand the right thing, the proper teaching, the real teachings of the Buddha. That is one thing. Secondly, there are different traditions today. Even in the name of Buddhism, there are traditions. Different traditions like Thai tradition, Burmese tradition, Tibetan traditions, Sri Lankan tradition, even American tradition. These are different traditions. But tradition is not Buddhism. Tradition is not Buddhism. Buddhism means what the Buddha has really taught us. That is what we have to understand. If we do not understand this, we go from place to place seeking but not find the right Dhamma, right thing. Then we go from place to place and understand something but not what the Buddha has really taught us. Sometimes later works, later things, later teaching. In the name of Buddhism, there are many things today. That is why, friends, we have to know the Dhamma. Know the Dhamma. If we know the real teachings of the Buddha, then we can apply this Dhamma. That is very important. So we have to understand how to know this Dhamma. How to know. In order to know this real Dhamma, we have to read the real original sources. We have to read this. There are discourses delivered by the Buddha. There are thousands of discourses. We can meet a monk or nun, a friend who knows this, and ask them what are the discourses should we read. And then you can read the different these discourses. There are many sources today, especially internet. When you browse internet, you can read these discourses from different websites. Especially there are at least 2 different websites. Sutta Central. There is one called suttacentral.net. The other one is accesstoinsight.org. You can go to these websites and read the original teachings. That is important. I always emphasize this. Read original discourses and understand the very word of the Buddha. That is important. And at the same time, there are books available, very good translations. Especially, I always appreciate and I recommend the translations of Bhikkhu Bodhi. Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations. His books are available, published by Wisdom Publications. There are books. So you can buy the books even. Then you have your own book. You can read these original discourses. So in like manner, we have to understand the very word of the Buddha. Then when we understand this Dhamma, how should we see? Now when we know this Dhamma, know and see, we have to understand that we know Dhamma, but how can we see? See means practicing. Without practicing, we cannot see the Dhamma. In order to see this Dhamma, when we practice, we to understand, we need eyes to see. There are two eyes. The Buddha said in the discourses, Buddha said there are two eyes. We all have two eyes. The two eyes the Buddha pointed out are this world and the next world. The person who has only one world, who thinks only of one world, this world only, the Buddha said he is a one-eyed person. If anyone thinks of next world only, forgetting about the way to live here, without enjoying life, without practice, without earning money and doing things properly here, just think of next world. That is also one-eyed person. The person who is called both-eyed is the person who understand the benefit of this life and the next life as well. So if we don't think of this, such a person is a blind person. Therefore, we have to understand, we have to think of this world and the next world as well. When we practice, the Buddha has recommended us at the beginning, as the beginners, we have to practice 5 different factors. What are the 5? Confidence. We have to have confidence, faith. Confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. That is the first thing. Then secondly, our precept, our morality is important. Then the third one is learning the Dhamma, understanding the Dhamma. Then practicing generosity. Then the practicing meditation. These 5, the Buddha said, if one has developed these five factors, one should not be afraid of his next life. His next life will be a good one. Friends, in this manner, if we practice the Dhamma, we can, day by day, we can develop further and further, like 5 spiritual faculties, 5 spiritual powers, 7 factors of enlightenment, and we can come to the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. When we enter the path, the first thing is right understanding. Right understanding is very important. Without right understanding, we cannot walk on the path. Right understanding itself is like eyes. If you have eyes, then you can go. Right understanding is that much important. If we have right understanding, we are on the path. That's entering the path even. When you enter the path, that itself is called Dhamma Chakku. When you enter the path as a stream enterer, that is called, you get the Dhamma Chakku, Dhamma eye. When you have Dhamma eye, you can see true. When you see true, what can you see? You can see 3 things. You can see these 3 marks in everything, each and everything, whether animate or inanimate. There are these 3 marks. What are the 3 marks? You can see the nature of impermanence. Things are ever changing. changing. That is what is called impermanent nature. Then you can see things, since they are impermanent, they are unsatisfactory. Then you can see in this process of changing, there is no substance, no entity to be grasped as mind. That is what is called non-self. So in this manner, we can understand this real Dhamma. We can see truth. That is what is called wisdom. When we practice in this manner, we are on the path. So the path is the Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha has very clearly taught us this path. This path is called middle path, middle way. How it becomes middle? Because Buddha avoided both extremes, sensual indulgence and self-mortification. Then he followed the middle way, which is the Eightfold Path. You know the Eightfold Path? When practiced one by one, we come to the eighth one, which is called right concentration. Right concentration. From the beginning, right understanding is important. Right understanding, those who have right understanding only can then go to right thoughts. Without right understanding, we cannot come to right thoughts. Then if we have right understanding and right thoughts, then we start to verbalize. That is what is called right speech. Then we put this into practice. That is what is called right action. If you have right actions, you live properly, live a right livelihood. That is called right livelihood. When you, in order to lead a right livelihood, you have to make effort. That is your right effort. When you have right effort, you earn things, worldly things. In day-to-day life, you work hard, you do things properly, mindfully, righteously, you earn righteously and lead a righteous life. With that effort, you think, why not practice spiritual life? As a human, I should have a spiritual life. That is how you think then. As to practice spiritual life, you need to practice mindfulness more and more, where you come to the state of mindfulness, where the four mindfulness are practiced, developed. Then finally you come to the right concentration. When you come to right concentration, it is the end of the Eightfold Path. That's true. But friends, Buddha has very clearly said, this Noble Eightfold Path is the path for the stream enterers, once-returners and non-returners. The Arahant's path is different. Even though you have come to the first three levels, you are not come to the end. One more to go. That is the Arahanthood, the full enlightenment. In order to gain full enlightenment, you to develop, you to realize the Dhamma, realize right knowledge. Right knowledge leads you to right liberation. That means the path becomes tenfold path, not the eightfold path. The path becomes a tenfold path. together with right knowledge and right liberation. Right knowledge means we then realize the Four Noble Truths. That is the realization of the Four Noble Truths. Right knowledge is possible only with the support, with the help of right concentration. So those who have right concentration can go to right liberation, right knowledge, and only those who have right knowledge, means the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths, can go to the last step, which is called right liberation. That is the full enlightenment. So friends, our practice is for this purpose. That is our goal. Eventually, that is the goal. We to understand, even though we practice and even though we put things practice properly, and we try to put this Dhamma into our daily life, practice in daily life, our goal is the attainment of liberation. So for that purpose, to live happily, peacefully in this society, and also to realize real peace, real happiness, we all have to understand the Dhamma, we all have to know the Dhamma, know the sublime Dhamma, and then we have to practice both serenity and wisdom together, samatha and vipassana together. Then we can see through, we can understand reality, we can understand the real nature of existence, and we can lead a happy and peaceful life. Finally, we can close our eyes peacefully. That is the purpose of this life. That is the purpose of this human life, which is rare, a rare opportunity. We all have got this rare opportunity. Let's understand the value of this life, and let's try to know the real Dhamma and practice accordingly. Thereby we all can live happily, peacefully. May we all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.